Hey everybody, it's new trigger time for the M92 PAP. My M92 PAP previously had the Tapco G2 double hook trigger kit in there. ALG Defense recently released their AKT trigger, so we picked one of those up at $50 and double the cost of the Tapco setup, but I mean, as far as trigger kits go, that's pretty cheap compared to what you can spend on AR triggers. As far as installation goes, it's pretty much exactly the same as any other AK trigger, so I'm not going to go over that. You will have to make some adjustments on the safety, and they highlight in their instructions here that you end up having to do with a roll pin back here. You may or may not have to do this. On the M92 I actually had to do this. Installed height that I ended up with 10 thousandths of an inch clearance was 385 approximately. 384, 385. And that got me good engagement on the safety. As stated in the instructions, you need to check the fitment of the trigger and the engagement of the safety, and you need 10 thousandths max clearance there. On my M92 with no roll pin installed, that's more than 10 thousandths. The hook is almost off the end of the trigger with the safety up, so we definitely do not want that much movement. A couple things I'd like to note on the AKT trigger are some dimensional differences compared to the Tapco and how they relate to fitment in this M92. This is the Tapco. The hammer legs that the retaining pin and the spring sits on are almost 1/10 of an inch narrower on the AKT trigger. So what does that mean in the M92? Is you get a lot of side play with that hammer. Now, the hammer really shouldn't be moving back and forth side to side like that when firing the gun, but I mean, it's still possible. And if it gets pushed off to the side too much, you're hitting your bolt guide right there, and your hammer won't go all the way down. Could be a deal killer for some, but I don't foresee your hammer really moving that much back and forth. Tapco retaining plate had the little nub sticking out to aid in installation, and that was actually hitting the side of this hammer shelf, which is about 20 thousandths wider than the Tapco. And again, with that side to side movement, there was a couple times that it hit it during test fitment, so I just decided to cut it off. As far as trigger pull weight goes, previously I think I recorded the Tapco G2 at right around 4.5 pounds, maybe just under 5. I think it was about 4.5 on this gun. The ALG, we're getting just under 3 pounds. It's the same hammer spring that the Tapco had. We'll do another pull on that and see what we get. Just under 3 pounds. ALG does state in their instructions that you should have approximately 3.5 pound trigger pull. If you don't, they talk about how to bend the legs of the spring down 5 to 10 degrees clockwise to increase trigger pull. At this point, at 3 pounds, give or take, that's fine with me. As far as take up and reset, there's not a lot of pre-travel, right? That's about it. And then right there it breaks. There's literally no over travel, at least in the M92. Here's your reset. Good audible click. I think it breaks really clean. Tapco G2 for comparison. It's a lot less smooth. I think I have about 300 rounds through this Tapco G2. There's your take up. There's your brake. Reset. It's almost all the way out there. So I definitely like the AKT a lot better. A lot less travel to get that trigger to move on the AKT than the Tapco G2. So it's lighter, it's smoother, and there's a heck of a lot less travel, but is it faster? I think the two following clips will answer that question for you. So we have our M92 PAP SBR here. We have the Tapco G2 installed. We're going to use our Competition Electronics Pocket Pro 2. We're going to shoot a 10-shot string, see what the split times and how fast it takes me to fire 10 rounds with the G2. I'm not the fastest on the trigger. I know Military Arms, he seems like he's full auto on a semi-auto trigger. He's fast, but we're going to see how fast we can do with this. That was 1.91 seconds. We have our ALG AKT trigger, our M92 PAP. We're going to fire another 10-shot string and see what we get for time. That was 1.73 seconds this time. I'm just seeing the clock. Obviously, I'm not the fastest guy in the trigger in the world, but there's definitely an improvement there, even after only being on this trigger for about 100 rounds. I've got probably 1,500 to 2,000 rounds on the Tapco there, so I'm used to that one, but definitely a speed increase. Overall, for $50 for an AK trigger, I definitely approve of this. I'm not so happy about the side-to-side play with the hammer, but can understand that ALG designed this to fit as many possible AK variants as they could, and I know they're coming out with an enhanced version that may require more fitting, so I may look into purchasing that and see if it gives me a little tighter tolerances there. I ended up picking this up from Brownell's. A lot of retailers have them in stock now, so check them out. Thanks for watching, everybody.